you wondering what places Trump will mention during the State of the Union address? Well, Polymarket and Klashi are able to give us the odds. So if we look here, we have kind of the usual suspects of China, Iran, and Venezuela, all above 90%. Polymarket has bets on Europe and Russia, again, also very high. Mexico, not surprising given what's been going on there. Funnily enough, those are higher than Ukraine. Canada, very, very high up there, not great from my point of view. And then you have, Minnesota, where those killings happened recently. New York, California. Greenland is an interesting one. So down here at just 60% sort of thing. So that was obviously the topic up until fairly recently. And it's dropping quite far down the list here. So 60%, so below California and just slightly above Congo. Then we have this sort of some other states here. Afghanistan, way down the list. Cuba, way down here. Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico being mentioned here. You have Georgia. I'm not sure if this is the state, presumably, or the country. And then you have Somalia, South America, Syria right way down here, Mount McKinley being mentioned, and all the way down at just 12% is Portland. Now if you look over at Klashi, they have a lot of the same things, but they have a few other places that we haven't seen on Polymarket's list. So we have China, again, really high up, Venezuela, Iran, Mexico slightly lower, Russia lower, Canada lower, thankfully. Ukraine, though, still below Russia in terms of being mentioned. Israel, which wasn't on the list there before, so 80% chance of mentioning something to do with Israel, which is more likely than Gaza. Again, we have Minnesota and Minneapolis. Greenland, again, kind of right down here, sitting at 59%, so greater than 50-50, but not as high as you'd expect going back a few months. Going down here, we have, again, states and countries. The Kennedy Center, or the whatever Trump has renamed it to. But my favorite one from Klashi is that they're actually taking bets on any mention of Little St. James, aka Epstein Island. So they're giving that a 3% chance, and I think that's very, very generous. Now, that's not the only thing that these prediction markets are betting on with the State of the Union address. There's a whole host of other things. So you have what will Trump say during the State of the Union here. So we have 250, because the U.S. is 250 years old. Trillion, the Olympics, the U.S. did pretty well there, unfortunately beating Canada in the hockey final, which is very disappointing as a Canadian. Mentioning his own name at 90%. Again, those odds probably seem pretty low. The hockey here, as we mentioned. And then we have all this sort of other stuff here, aliens, which I assume means illegal aliens and not UFO aliens, but who knows? You can watch my other video looking at the odds of them mentioning anything about that. And a whole bunch of other sort of things here, DEI, woke, or woke DEI. I don't know why these are two separate things, but there you go. Fake news are kind of making a sort of a decline here at just 52%. Talking about that, that ballroom that he's making, and that's so bizarre. And what else do we have here? Looking at things here, I mean, you can see the sort of same things here. Some crypto and Ethereum kind of quite low down on the list. So some other markets you can see here is, so this is what Polymarket's view is, and it lets you kind of say how many times Trump will say something. So we'll say America over 50 times during the State of the Union. It's an 82% chance, 97% chance over 25 times. Mentioning Biden 10 times. I mean, that's just crazy to me that he still is so obsessed with Biden, despite Biden being out of office now for well over a year. And you can see here Kamala Harris kind of down, still kind of being mentioned. Israel, Gaza being mentioned, as we looked at in the previous one here. Interestingly, these odds are actually quite a bit higher that mentioning these than they were in the places market. Mentioning Epstein at 14%, I find those odds probably seem really high to me that he would actually mention that, but who knows. A shout out to all the young kids, 6, 7, 11% here. So the odds of him talking about Epstein is higher than him doing this kind of shout out. And then your kind of standard things that you'd expect to sort of see here. And again, mentioning the ice hockey, which please don't remind us. And then what other markets do we have here related to the State of the Union? So we have who will attend the State of the Union. Again, kind of your normal people you'd expect here. So we have all of these people here attending. Not too exciting, but there's been $650,000 wagered on that. How long it will last? So only a 1% chance of it being under 60 minutes and a 43% chance of it being over 100 minutes, according to Polymarket. Again, Klashi flips this on its head, so it's saying 98% chance of 60 minutes or longer And they're giving it just a 42% chance of it being over 100 minutes or longer. So again, maybe a small discrepancy there. Again, $300,000 wager on that. Who we named? So again, Biden. Again, the obsession there. Maduro. That makes some sense. Marco Rubio. And then we have here again, Kalshi giving Biden, Maduro, and Marco Rubio again the top kind of billings there. You can wager on what he'll say first, or the first, I guess, which is these are the first thing that he'll say. So if he'll say America or Biden or MAGA, or something else. I'm not really sure exactly how that market will resolve. So looking at, will all of Trump's children attend the State of the Union? I assume these are all his all of them that are there. Kalshi giving that 46.8% chance of that happening, whereas Polymarket only giving it a 29% chance of it happening. So very different odds there. Again, tiny amounts being wagered on this though, just $14,000 there on Polymarket. I think there was about $30,000 on Kalshi. You can wager on, will Trump drink water during the State of the Union address? I mean, if it's going to be over 100 minutes, I would have thought the chances of him drinking some water while doing it would be really high. But according to this Polymarket, there's just an 18% chance of that happening. So that seems really low. But again, on almost no volume. You can bet on how long Trump and JD Vance will shake hands. So no handshake at just 2%, under 2 seconds at 51%, and then it kind of goes from there. So you can sort of see that, and a 1% chance of over a 15-second long handshake, which that just seems like an insanely long handshake. So I think probably rightly priced there. Polymarket also taking wagers on, will anyone be kicked out of Trump's State of the Union address at 46%, which is really, really high. So I'd be interested to see how that plays out. And finally, you can bet on the number of times JD Vance claps at the State of the Union. So only 1% chance it's under 20, and 40% chance that it's over 100 times. And people have bet almost $100,000 on whether or not that will happen. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And